Chains of Corruption going to be clutch for long distance engage or peel ability. Now that Ashe, again, probably the likely pick, but it's what you pair with it for IG.
Yeah, again, things like the Nico being left open for the first time this series can really throw a spanner in the works if IG just want to go towards that and have even more playmaking ability
It's
in the early game.
a tangle barb, not a spanner. Okay, Lyric.
All right. You know, but there's also, like, how much did it devalue Leyan's champions, right?
Ooh, yeah.
The Graves, the Brand, really being the other big things that he knows how to play. But no, they're actually just going to go straight for their bot lane 2v2. There's really no fear of the Draven being taken away, obviously, because the VODS had already been picked up. But just wanting to make sure that they can get their hands on that strong 2v2 once again.
Honestly, on 3 games on Draven, pretty impressive that he's gotten this one so far for IG. We'll see, though. This would be a huge lock-in. A tried and true pick for Xiaohu. He earned, I feel like, his name, the Tiger King of Spring, on picks like this one, but also just a lot of onus being given to him on this game, which could be a potential last one of this series.
The thing they're doing now is, even if they fall in the hole early, it doesn't really mean too much, right? They have a VODS and they have an Azir that they can fall back on. They're going to have a lot of range to be able to play around to make it so even if an Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits, they can still end up backing away to deal with it, and even to get their hands on a very powerful early game jungler like the Volibear. So XiaoHao maybe going to be given another chance to shine, like Game 2 where he was a standout.
I'm surprised they didn't go for the Viego, give him a little bit more power for the reset potential there, but a little bit more stability and tankability there for the Volibear. A lot of choices to be had by Cryin. He's trying to take his pick of the litter. Some smiles, maybe leaning towards this Nico that you had mentioned earlier. The setup is king, and Cryin might be just the king of that.
I wonder if they fear any of the, we'll say, more cheeky support picks from coming through. Things like the Heimer, which we saw Weibo flashing, Xiao was flashing it on that 2-pick. Things like that can contest Prio. Or if they feel a bigger need to just, once again, get YSKM in a comfortable matchup. Because we've seen every game so far, whether it be like this game in first phase of bans or second, there it is. They're putting a lot of emphasis onto banning out ZDZ. ZDZ, his most played champion in solo queue is Twisted Fate. So we know Weibo played it during the split in topside, but also not afraid of bringing it there. Hell, actually even theoretically could be put down towards bot if they were willing to do something weird like moving Varus into the support role, which, maybe hasn't really happened much this year, but was a staple early on in 2023.
And this is also a situation where Weibo didn't really get to play their strengths, where they do have a lot of success playing through side lanes, playing through macro decision making, and like pushing you around the map. We saw that in the first couple games of the series, but maybe trying to take away some of those options is IG's mental going into the second phase. Now the Graves prio ban towards Leyan. The other thing you think of here is the Brand, another big one.
Yeah, the only other his other big champion he's played has been the Xin Zhao, but even then I think he's 2-4. Yeah, he's 2-4 on the pick, so it hasn't been something IG really found success on, but those have been his big 4. We know Leyan though can play things like the Lee Sin. Hell, even this split he's 2-0 on it, 17 KDA, so there's definitely still some options there, and IG are just going to keep going strong with leaning into aggression in the early game in terms of these first 3 picks. So it seems like rounding it out with something like that would mesh quite well.
Ooh, the Cassante. So we talked about this at the beginning of the series, and we actually saw it banned in the first game, but both these guys, EDZ and YSKM, love the Cassante, and it feels like it's been one of the most stable picks for YSKM throughout this season.
I mean, 16 games, 62% win rate. That is huge for YSKM, giving him some pressure in the 1v1, but also being a frontliner. He feels confident playing, and Weibo actually going to go back towards the Poppy again. Not too many dashes or anything like that you're dissuading, but this time around the key difference is you have range to play with, right? You have the Azir and you have the Varus. So even if you aren't denying a bunch of people dashing into you, you can still play Peel to allow for your carries to take over.
And you can deny a crucial component to IG's composition with a big keeper's verdict there as well. See what Weibo wants to grab in as this final pick here. Crisp has been clutch on the engages. We've seen him have a lot of success in that, but it finally gets locked in. The Heimerdinger.
Hasn't played it this split, but again, going to do really well in the 2v2. He's played like an adjacent style earlier. I think they were playing they played Varus Zyra earlier in the split, so we're going to see them try and be able to contest this pressure in the 2v2 with those turrets. Now, IG, I'd be a little bit surprised to see the Nocturne. He'd really be diving in alone unless Cryin can find those great angles and flanks to be able to get in there. But yeah, IG, once again, it feels very, you know, hit or miss. They could either explode out of the rip, they can find that early game lead, or they will just get rolled over. Weibo coming in with a lot more scaling under their belt, but this time also trying to draft for some prio with the Heimer, Varus, and bot lane.
The bar of execution for IG is pretty high. They have a lot of pieces that all need to sync up together, but when you look at it, maybe close your eyes thinking about it, right? Leyan turns off the lights, then you have Cryin with a big flank engage, the Pop Blossom. You had the Enchanted Crystal Arrow maybe leading all of that off, and a lot of vision being gained to utilize that. So that is how the composition should work, but we've seen the execution bar has not been met every time.
Well, also, it's very feast or famine, right? All the things you're pointing out, if it gets ahead, playing against it can be so oppressive. Just because, I mean, Enchanted Crystal Arrow plus the Nocturne able to chase down so far away. But if it falls behind, it becomes a lot harder to contest any fights. So we'll be heavily relying on picking members of Weibo off. So we're going to see if IG can have the same explosive early game as they did in game number 3.
Tempo was key in that game, and Leyan coming in swinging to put XiaoHao under pressure consistently. See if he can do that yet again with a little bit of a retooled composition. The Volley Bear gonna be a staple, it feels like, in the tankiness of this roster for Weibo. But it's still a game that IG need to win if they want their hopes to continue here in spring. With Weibo looking on the cusp of facing off against LNG in the next round. Let's see if we go all 5.
IG trying to find something to get themselves off to a good start, and I love it. I love looking for level 1s, especially in series like this. Level 1s are some of the easiest things to invest in to try to find bang for your buck. Not able to do it this time. And both these teams, I mean, coming in, wanting to make it to the next series, very different journeys, right? IG, not making playoffs since 2021, hoping to go on for some semblance of a run here, even if just making it to the next round would be huge. Weibo, again, made it to finals. Last year, World Finals. So not wanting to really drop down from that precedent.
Weibo having picked up some core pieces from anyone's legend that have been developing under their system for so long with XiaoHao and CDZ. We're about to get a tussle to potentially decide game number 4.
It's 5v4.
That's a flash. A little bit of damage from on the back end. Oh no, Leyan, you got to get out of there. First blood goes over to none other than Crisp.
And you definitely would have preferred it on someone else. But this was just all 5 members of Weibo being on this side of the map. ZDZ did not start top lane, so it's a trade, right? Weibo find this kill, they find some pressure, even getting summoners off people like Cryin, but it's at the expense of YSKM being able to get a bit of an advantage in top lane. Now, when your top lane is Cassante versus Poppy, I don't think as Weibo you care all that much.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think the ZDZ's chilling right now. Does end up losing a little bit of that level 1, but it's fine. Now, Wink and On have gained a bit of advantage. We've seen them do this in the last game that led to a lot of good decision-making from the rest of IG, but that's where I want to check in on these junglers, where they will have the mirrored starts here with opposite side pathing.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see if XiaoHao, I mean, if he would even attempt anything about it at this point. Weibo should know that there's that ward bot side, but still going to walk through, it looks like.
He's going to be spotted out there. A couple pings going his way. Wink's not actually going to step up to stop a back there, but a wave will crash in the end. Actually, maybe stopped by that turret, so really nicely well done by Weibo's bot side. Trying to stave off a little bit of the pressure, maybe get some of the CS lead under tow.
I'm going to try and find something, but it is going to be rough for now. I mean, that's the difference in On and Wink just starting on that wave first and keeping up that level of aggression. But again, Weibo this time around don't feel as pressured if things do start going wrong or getting a little bit tough earlier on. Their composition definitely holds up way better the longer this game goes with the amount of frontline and DPS that they do have. So it's nice that we can see IG finding pressure in bot, Cryin out-pressuring in this matchup mid. It's something that Weibo were banning every game of the series leading into this, and Cryin hopefully can show us the reason why.
Ooh, Chris going to have to burn his flash. The volley also connects on the back end of it, too. A lot of pressure being given over to Weibo, and that means that IG will actually be able to crash another wave down here, too.
Like we said, this is not something Chris has shown us this split. So we're going to see how proficient he actually feels on this champion. But On and Wink off to another good start in the 2v2, going back to IG's win condition like they showed us at the start of the split.
You wink and you'll miss it was the tagline we gave this bot side. The 2v2 always coming up clutch for them so far, though. That one kill going over to Crisp, even though some of that pressure in the lane has gone On's way. You now look to some proactive jungling here as first paths have come to a head. A back coming out from Leyan means that his first strikes will not be there. He'll be looking for that level 6 mark for the paranoia.
Yep, that's what it's going to be all about. And I mean, hell, it could go either mid or bot, right? Having the options available to you is... I'm actually surprised. I thought Weibo might try and commit up topside and take that Scuttle Crab. They should have the knowledge that hasn't been taken yet with the control ward that they have up there, but it seems like XiaoHao more interested in staying around bot.
The objectives are going to be sodding here soon, at least right now. They also have been moving On and Wink up here. They are spotted out on vision, but this could also mean they're trying to make a play towards these telegrubbies. Xiaohu, they do know that they're here. The Xiaohu should be able to play with a little bit of bait.
Yeah, this is reminiscent to, I believe it was game 1 when Xiaohu, right? He kept knowing Tianjin was going to gank his On.
Oh, Crisp. He almost had it, the timing just a little bit behind, but Weibo forcing On to walk the wide way around to get back to his wave.
I'm surprised they aren't applying more pressure to prevent him from walking in. I think Leyan should have showed on the vision or on top side. I mean, definitely shows now. He's actually sitting right next to a ward. But so I feel like On's getting off a little bit easy, just being able to simply walk to his turret. But Wink, he's not. He has to fear everything that's in this jungle right now.
He is terrified, although we know that nobody's there. It is terrifying to walk into an entire jungle that has no vision. Leyan taking advantage of some of that pressure on the bot side of the map. He ended up taking all 3 of the telegrubbies, so he's the only one watching those Saturday morning cartoons. Xiaohu, though, missing the combo onto Cryin.
You know, the global ban is showing. We're out of practice. It's okay.
There's 2 games in a row we've seen like wide misses.
Exactly. This is just a Xiaohu thing. I'm gonna assume LPL mid laners maybe not having as much practice on the Azir again.
That's why we went 2 games without it.
I'm fine with that. You know, we can keep going games without it.
I do want to highlight though, we've gotten to a pretty good state of normalcy here. At least Leyan still has a bit of an advantage in the jungle matchup, but this bot lane lead has been diminished by Light and Crisp. YSKM going all out here on the ZDZ. He's going to pop that keeper's verdict. Kind of unstoppable his way out, but gets yeeted anyways.
ZDZ holding it, trying to guarantee that he gets that one off. Is going to be able to get this lane in now and go for a recall. And like you said, very steady game, which feels like it's good for Weibo, but this is where the explosion for IG could start happening, right? Cryin and Leyan both having their ults online.
Gets it online at the right time. They find the fear under turret there, and On cashes in. Big money for IG.
Almost able to find a return kill onto Leyan, but not able to do so, and Draven being the one to get the kill. Exactly what you want from IG. Great job on punishing the flash, which is almost up, so nice timing for IG.
Timing coming in key, and the hawk shot going to spot out XiaoHao. So IG can play a little bit more safe around the bot side of the map too. Level 6 has been achieved by XiaoHao though. Xiaohu trying to find the backing Cryin. Does end up stopping his back there too.
Just fine going for that, knowing he still, he has fleet. He still has a biscuit in his inventory. Fine going with those held trades to just try and keep that lane locked in the 1v1. And now Weibo taking advantage of a timing their own to get the strike. One of the nice things about Heimer, with all those turrets, really solid at being able to take the neutral objectives. And here, I mean, Paranoia comes online and they can easily run him down. Still had no flash. Again, Light there hit a Q, almost found a return kill, but not enough in the end.
The timing's so good, man. It's like instantly hit level 6. Let's go bot side. And I think that was the difference in last game that Leyan presented over Tianjin, and that could be the difference maker in this game.
You're off to a nice early start. Cryin has ult, so maybe some potential if they wanted to look mid. You are against an Azir, so I think without the paranoia, it can be very hard. Other than that, IG might just be fine waiting for some of their, waiting for Leyan's ult to cycle. That might even give time for Wing to get his Enchanted Crystal Arrow online. And then guess what, Mazel? You can look for a rinse and repeat play of exactly what happened bot, except this time with even more CC.
Yeah, it gets even worse as you start piling things on even more and more. Wing could be very close to that level 6 mark with Leyan pathing down towards bot side. It's like we can see the harbinger of destruction in the distance for Weibo's bottom lane. See if they can get path down here or do anything along the sorts, as there is some more objectives coming up on the Rift. IG, they already started stacking the first 3 grubbies, but there's a second set of grubbies coming up, and we'll see if Weibo wants to deny them that.
Yeah, looking at their top side 3v3s, maybe there's an angle. If Xiaohu gets opened up to get jumped on by Cryin and Leyan, IG obviously win, but I think if you walk in a correct way, it should be hard to 3v3 them. You have Emperor's Divide to be able to force them off. Rotating your bot lane over looks like it'd be impossible with the pressure that IG have, and hell, IG actually could even move their bot lane up first, or even just commit an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so definitely seems like there's more options there for IG.
XiaoHao playing around the blast cone there. Leyan actually trying to get a little bit of a vision play down up that actually bottom side of the map. Ooh, let's see a little standoff here. Okay, Leyan immediately wins that one. XiaoHao doesn't want any of that, but that goes back to the gameplay you were talking about earlier. Weibo okay with a slight advantage to IG here.
Yeah, I think like if standoffs like that happen where both junglers are just looking at each other, I think Weibo feel all right. They're like, hey, no paranoia play is happening on the map. But speaking of, he's going to go for those grubs you just hit on. XiaoHao going to hope to find an angle bot.
That insurance policy, though, man, anytime you see all 6 grubs go one way, it just feels really rough as time goes on, especially for a composition that wants to be strong early. Ooh, Cryi's going to have to burn his flash here. XiaoHao didn't really have the angle, and now Leyan in some trouble. ZDZ has found him and stopped him from taking the 5th and 6th grubs, but they do get a 4th.
Yeah, Weibo.
No
what a
shot.
Weird. Oh, he's gonna.
No shot, XiaoHao.
Christmas here too.
He wants
Christmas
it.
ult.
They don't. Okay. Well, lackluster, but they wanted it. I could see it. I could see the angle. But Chris moving up here is big because they will deny the 5th and 6th.
They knew that Wink should have been close because they hadn't seen Wink on bot wave for a while. So even just, maybe they go in, get Enchanted Crystal Arrowed, and it turns into an overcommit. I think that was the thought process in Weibo's mind, why they wouldn't look for an aggressive last plan over.
Ooh, there's a combo, but a flash comes. Oh, Leyan taking a couple extra turret shots there. Almost gets traded on the back end of it. Those 2 grubs finally fall to Weibo. Xiaohu stops the advance of a multi-ulted mid lane direction for IG.
Yeah, we've been complimenting a lot of their timing, but the timing on that one, not so good. Leyan definitely going to need a new watch, but at least no one died. Take that.
True. You just used 3 ultis. No big deal. Luckily, they're decently short cooldowns. We are looking at first items coming up for a majority of members here. As the Yumus for light. As we did not mention earlier, but it is the double arcane comet bot side, so a little bit more of that poke lethality build from light.
Which I think makes a lot of sense, right? You already have your Azir, who hopefully will be the one able to take care of Passante later on, as we're going to see here. Just great flash. Sadly, not able to have the Pop Blossom come out soon enough to be able to chain that perfectly, but I don't think that's a criticism you could really give on IG. Just, Xiaohu with a really clutch flash there to be able to get away.
It was so close for Xiaohu just to get that little poke back and almost kill him too. Little things can start to make the biggest difference. Now we're 20 seconds away from another dragon. Weibo had gotten the first. We'll see if they were willing to give up the trade of those. YSKM going to get a big trade onto ZDZ. He wants to go all out. Will do so. ZDZ is going to burn the flash. Here's the keeper's verdict. And can he get the kill anyways? The unstoppable. You should know me, baby.
Perfect timing to make sure that he can't get knocked back. YSKM gets his hand on the one champion he's really leaned on this split, and it actually ends up paying off. But IG, they want to keep looking to tussle.
Dude, Dragon going the way of Weibo, though, and maybe the engage afterwards. Xiaohu does have his combo. Oh, nice enchanted crystal arrow there. Double stand aside by On. That decent chunk onto Crisp with one auto attack. You start seeing the strength of the Draven.
Trying to find something there, but still 2 dragons up for Weibo. This game so far is so different from anything we've gotten. This
Crisp! He's just a little Yordle, and he's going to go down easily to the strength of IG.
Yeah, in no man's land. Knew On was running up, really had nowhere he could go unless he was willing to flash over the red buff wall, which honestly in hindsight was probably the only thing he could do, but ends up going down. Another kill for IG.
That's such a big pick out too, and IG gaining some momentum here. We're going to take a look back at that solo bolo.
I mean, so nice. TP's back in, full HP, has the advantage, just honestly running him down. I mean, I think we all know what the big part of this play is going to be. After getting the soul, I mean, just great timing with the W to make sure that he can't get knocked back. There it is, the recast, and finishes it off. I mean, hey, with the fact that he's played 16 games on the, like, this is 17th game on the Cassante this split, he should be able to pull off those 1v1s.
You're going to be wondering, and were those bans worth it? Towards the Nidalee and the Rek'Sai, if you're going to let these kinds of strengths through for YSKM, who has had a pretty quiet series, but has turned it up in the last couple games as well. On that Rek'Sai, now on the Cassante. Weibo are moving Crisp around pretty proficiently. We have the Rift Herald up and available on this side of the map too.
Let's remember, though, the Cassante has not been at least first rotation banned so far this series. It has been in the second set of bans, but there has been opportunities there for YSKM, just IG not opting into it so far until this game. But like you were saying, now it's about seeing if either of these teams can start getting towards this Rift Herald. So far, Weibo the ones with control over River. IG probably waiting for the Paranoia to come back up before they look to make any sort of aggressive play, right? We're going to have that same combo, Wink setting things up, Leyan following through, and then that can really work around either Cryin or On, right? Cryin would definitely be the cherry on top with even more CC with the ulti, but even just the damage from On could be enough to allow Leyan and Wink to find the right play.
Wondering how they can try to find these at least advances in the downtimes, because we have about 2 minutes spurning on until a third dragon will be available for Weibo. They have had really consistent objective focus besides those 4 grubs going to IG. Looks like they're going to start that Rift Herald already, but pull off of it. It's now in the mid lane focus because of Light and Crisp versus On and Wink.
Things like this Rift Herald are incredibly important for IG, right? Because you do have some wave clear with the Azir and just a lot of ways, a lot of short range for IG. It's going to make it hard to siege down any of these turrets without things like Rift Herald or Baron.
YSKM on the receiving end of ZBZ's ire, as he got the solo kill there. Weibo will start up the Rift Herald yet again. A little bit more presence from Light in the mid lane. They do get that push in there. I think the biggest question mark becomes when you split this IG composition apart, because I feel like Cryin is such a big piece to the puzzle if they find the big engages there, and he's going to have to be in the side lane answering.
Yeah, but it feels like even if he's there, right, a lot's going to come down to on being able to find the angle. IG's execution, in my mind, definitely being harder. And now at this point, ooh, Xiaohu. So Weibo already starting to show some of this cleverness, some of this outthinking the enemy, knowing that this invade was going to come through.
Trying to stop the bot side tower from falling. They have Wink over here. Crisp on his way, but IG pull off in a setup that might have ended up bad for them, but they do need to get this vision, which they have consistently gotten around the bot side with the dragon spawning in about 30 seconds, rather.
And now it seems like we're going to get a fight. I'm actually surprised Weibo ended up diverting so much away from mid. It is giving IG complete control to try to find this pick, and that's what they want. They want to catch someone out before the fight ends up having to start. Weibo, they'll have the Herald, so they could definitely pull pressure towards mid and push IG out of River.
Actually, he might be able to make the play before any of this happens with ZDZ on his way as well. YSKM has TP, but there comes the Rift Herald. Some poke coming out. Thangobarm is going to connect on a XiaoHao, but they can also dive pretty proficiently with this Volibear pick. The turret will be the focus of the Rift Herald. Not going to be driven in there. You don't need to get any of the extra mites, but the dragon has spawned, and Weibo realized that's where they need to put the pressure. So YSKM's taking an outer tower and topside.
I actually feel like Weibo are taking this way too slow. I feel like Herald should have been dropped earlier with the wave and just immediately turned towards Dragon. It's given... Hell, it gave YSKM enough time to get a turret when he's been pushed in the whole lane. IG now?
TP here, too. Yeah, he's coming in. This is a fight IG want. Oh, and almost dying, though, on the side. Chris but a gun him down with the rockets, but doesn't end up getting him. Now Paranoia going to be up. Here's where the combo needs to come alive for IG. They already find Xiaohu. Here comes Cryin. Nobody could see him because of the Paranoia. ZDZ's all by himself in the middle of no man's land, but did he tank enough? XiaoHao's here. The bear's hungry, and he gets one back. Now ZDZ is in some trouble himself, and Weibo lose their big three.
Again, it just felt like they were way too hesitant around this sequence. It gave IG so much time to find the positions they wanted. They're going to pick up Drake and deny Soul Point. Is what?
Looking for the poke. He does have a lot of damage with those piercing arrows, but the dragon goes over IG, stop the stacking from Weibo. That was a big fight from them. They also got a decent amount of gold for Leyan.
We're going to go to the replay again. I really feel like Weibo were sitting on their hands here. Look at the minimap. You already have the Nico TPing from behind. Sure, On has to flash away, but now the positions are just so awkward for Weibo. Xiaohu dragged away to the opposite team, instantly gets taken down. Cryin able to zone people off with where he's at. ZDZ actually does an admirable job.
He does.
Like almost taking on down, but then Xiaohu gets way too greedy committing to that one. And you know, again, we get the replay of the fight, but it really felt like for Weibo it was the things leading up that ended up doing them in and letting IG take over. Now a 3K gold lead.
If it would have been the Weibo from game 1 and 2, they pull off after that initial ZDZ getting out with a heal from Crisp, right? But XiaoHao buying into the pressure a little bit, buying into the moment a little bit, going too ham, and IG will pounce back. They are a gritty team. We know them to take early advantages and carry them home. We'll see if they can continue to do so here with about a 3,000 gold lead.
We need to remember, though, this is the Weibo comfort zone.
It is.
Weibo win about 40% of the games where they're behind, past the 15-minute mark. Again, second best in the league. So this is not a position they're unfamiliar with whatsoever. But now you're worrying about Cryin being able to get in there with the rocket belt, the stride breaker on Leyan, and he's starting to get tanky, diving your backline in unison. Like, look at YSKM with all these kills. Already 2 items finished up. It's really going to be hard to get past IG's front line, and you also have so much dive you're having to deal with as lighter Xiaohu.
And the other thing is they are level 11 now for a lot of those cooldown ultis, going even further. Wink getting closer to that, but their cooldowns are going to be up anytime they need them to, right? The cooldowns are not very long for the Nocturne, for the Nico, for the Ashe as well, so they'll have their engage tools up a lot.
And we're going to have to start looking at IG playing for flashes, right? Because especially when you're running things like the VODS, IG are going to be wanting to force earlier, get those flashes down, and then it gives them such an easy time of, you know, Nocturne and Nico being able to find that backline access onto the VODS. So it's going to be a key thing moving forward, making sure that Light, even potentially Xiaohu's flashes are down.
Frozen Heart for Leyan, second item. I like it.
Wanting to make sure, you know, getting as tanky as soon as possible, denying some of that attack speed from being able to come in and make a huge difference in these fights.
I think a big difference maker can obviously go centered around Leyan. After he came in for that game number 3, it's been a different IG team, and that proactivity has paid dividends for them so far.
It's even weird because it's kind of been a different Leyan in a way. Like, Leyan was not playing this heavily around bot side during the regular season. He wasn't playing it in the last Weibo series. Really, no point at all was, you know, playing for himself or sometimes playing around top lane or playing with top lane a little bit. So it's nice to see the shakeup coming back.
They're going to catch him out. There's the combo. Luckily, Xiaohu does shifting sands his way out of that one, but that's the scariness that you have to deal with, and that flash going to be burned.
right? That's what we were just talking about a moment ago. Getting these flashes early, so the next time we look for this play, it can work flawlessly. It is a bit harder on the Azir. Oh, XiaoHao.
Fighting off a little bit more than you could chew there, but maybe just enough. As On burns the cleanse. XiaoHao did have to be a little scared there, I'm sure. But they did try to get a catch out, and that's some proactivity back from Weibo.
And sadly, not able to get the flash from On. That could have been a huge one. Then XiaoHao could have just tried to find easy access to the backline anytime, but Weibo going to finally be able to pick out this mid lane outer turret. And with having Xiaohu, Sundisk to keep pressure up. Dragon's coming up in 40 seconds, but Weibo actually valuing control over the top side. I mean, Azir, yeah. Great at Baron. Again, Heimer, another one of those champions. Kind of like Brand, that's just an AP champion that really supplements it.
Arrow back, and now Weibo, they want this fight. Light is doing so much work now on the 2.5 item spike of this Varus.
Yeah, and Weibo now going to be in their comfort zone of being able to start navigating the map, right? Hey, what fights do we want to take? Where do we want to split? Oh, wow. Wow, they do just full on send it. YSKM has TP. Oh, what a great ward to TP on, too.
Send it. Why not? YSKM, he's there. He's in there. Paranoia coming in as well. The flash going to come out from Chris. Nice keeper's verdict, pulling Leyan out of there. So there's no 50-50. XiaoHao just needs to stay alive. He's not there fast enough. The Baron goes over. Nice little engage from IG. Are any purple capes going to make it out for Weibo? ZDZ once weak. He can't get him. The flash comes through, and everyone's getting chased down now. IG, they're finding On some more kills, and they take almost everyone off the table here. Crisp, ZDZ gone. Light making it out barely, but there's still XiaoHao and Xiaohu are coming back from the base, ready for the dragon.
I think he makes it. Light makes it. Wow, what an escape from Light to be able to not die there, having to make a trek around the world.
He's had to do that a couple times now, this bot lane. Both themselves fighting, traveling, being a nice little pastime for them.
I gotta say, that Baron call was absolutely crazy. I have no idea what Weibo were thinking they're taking that kind of risk, but it somehow actually ended up paying off.
They still are at a big disadvantage, though. And now they have to try to contest for this dragon. They don't really need to, though. They do have the Baron buff for another 2 minutes. IG forcing this one. Oh my God! The shining light from Weibo Gaming!
What a huge steal. Now Weibo out of nowhere on Soul Point. They even had members already stacked in mid to get the Baron wave push going. Is nice dodge by Xiaohu. Like, Weibo Gaming starting to look like the protagonists with how many miracles are showing up.
They had to give IG a little bit of give, and they did. They were pushed all the way to game 4.
Isn't that the most main character energy? Literally escapes through enemy jungle, runs around the whole map, and then steals Dragon for Soul Point. Insane.
The level up is real. Light has been honestly a consistent force in this series for Weibo, and again, go back to the conversation of like this guy really made a big splash for LNG when they were making their miracle runs, things like that, but it really feels like he's found his own on Weibo and in the combination with Crisp.
Yeah, it really has been able to work again, especially this split. They've been the most consistent piece of the team, and now doing a great job of being able to barrel around the map. I mean, hell, maybe that's why Weibo... Oh, ZDZ.
Does a lot of damage to ZDC here. How unfair
as
is
LDR.
it? Oh. That's a big one. They're going to try to fight back here, though. ZDC just has to watch as his health bar gets taken out from under him. As On actually gets the big amount of gold for that one. They're going to try to chase down Weibo, who have no outer tower down here. Leyan has Paranoia. All of the combo for Cryin is available as well. They have the angle. They could actually catch Crisp out. Look at those little legs. They don't run fast enough. And that's going to be another kill to On.
Yeah, overstaying. IG finding a nice 2 kills. And a big thing about, especially that first one, right, is the fact that On was able to finish his Lord Doms before this push around bot ended up happening, as Cryin has his ult.
XiaoHao will spot him out, but a tier 2 is in the eyes of IG. They could even push this a little bit further too if they want to. Pop Blossom still available. Cryin wants to pull the trigger there. If they hit an inhib turret here, that is bold. They do end up backing off after that.
I am actually surprised they weren't willing to dive. I know ZDZ was up soon. He's obviously up now, but you had a big tank in YSKM. You have things like the Pop Blossom.
Oh!
Does manage to do it. As it feels weird, right? Because even with the Baron, even after this, like, IG are still the ones up 4 or 5k gold, but ZDZ being a little bit too far forward. The knockback comes from YSKM. The Lord Dominic's, like I said, really being the thing to deliver for on here in terms of damaging the ZDZ. And man, he just doesn't even get a chance to run away. They're chaining CC over and over again.
Really some big Enchanted Crystal arrows from Wink. And it's been refreshing, I feel like, for me to see On and Wink really perform these last two games in the series, because game 1 and 2 was far flung from what we've seen from these two guys.
Yeah. Again, it's weird because it's very hit or miss. Like, you either get the best of the IG bot lane or you get the worst of the IG bot lane. There typically isn't too much room for middle ground. So it's nice. We've really been getting that good side of On and Wink, and the drafts to enable it. Leyan coming back in and readjusting how he's playing to make sure it could work.
Just got the Bloodthirster completed for On there as well. 5, 1, and 3 going to be a big component to IG's success here. Don't have anything going on the map, but you do have about 1 minute and 10 seconds for a Weibo Soul. It would be that Cloud Soul for them. But until then, it's looking where IG want to pull the trigger. They have everything available, including the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They want to make a play onto Weibo's side lane.
I wonder how much she'll be able to contend in terms of damage until Xiaohu gets a death cap. You know, has the Void stuff, has the Andres, definitely has ways of dealing with YSKM, but YSKM being on 3.5 items, Light really isn't going to be able to touch him.
They were hoping it was going to be anybody but XiaoHao that stepped up there. It was XiaoHao, so they back away. They aren't able to catch anybody there. We do have a Baron spawning back onto the map in about 20 seconds. Will be catacorner to the Dragon spawning about 10 seconds after that. Wink looking for an angle over here. He has the Enchanted Crystal Arrow available.
And IG are trying so hard to find a pick right now because they know that Weibo are the ones with options, right? Weibo can lean to whichever side they want. Like, they could lean Baron and be like, sure, get Dragon, or vice versa. IG hoping they can find a pick first, so then they could just go take the objective of their choosing and not have to give away the other.
You wonder why maybe there's some reservation being played from both sides. A lot of pressure being mounted into this game number 4. This is a do-or-die series for both these teams. IG, they have been on the cusp of losing for 2 games in a row, and they want to stave that off for one more, push us to 5, and give us silver scrapes. You do see IG taking advantage of their pressure around the map to get this Dragon, deny the soul from Weibo, and the time keeps ticking.
And this is the Weibo we've come to know, right? Is, oh, wow.
They thought.
That was close. They almost had Crisp. Like, that would have been a kill. That would have been the Baron. Now they're just going to go right on it, having known the recall came through.
They are burning it pretty quickly as well. They have to be careful, though, because a 50-50 could flip this game on its head in a game that matters all so much. IG, they are in the pit. They are trying to stop the Keeper's verdict there, but it will be successful. Gone. That is a huge frontliner gone, and they are off of the Baron. Here comes XiaoHao to finish it off. 50-50. XiaoHao's just better. Here comes Cryin with 2 over the wall. He does get a nice Pop Blossom, but on the other side, ZDZ is handling business. ZDZ's trying to run down On. He gets him. That's 1,000 smackaroos to the top lane of Weibo. And now they can chase down on the Wink, Cryin, and Leyan. YSKM comes on a flank, but the rest of the team from Weibo are right behind him. And they're going to know him real well because they're going to know him enough to put him in the grave. That'll be a big kill to Weibo, a big Baron for XiaoHao, and a complete readaptation for this team deep into this game 4.
And Weibo, again, it's the decision-making once you get past that 30-minute mark, where things really get messy, but things seem to work out. I swear, ZDZ's 1-4 Poppy looks like it does more damage than any Poppy I've ever seen. We always cut to him winning 1v1s against the Draven.
That's what happens when you go straight armor to a bunch of damage dealers there. Feels really good for Weibo. We will get another pause, unfortunately. We'll figure out what's going on with that. But Weibo have cut the lead. They've completely evaporated it, and they've taken their own in its place.
I believe it's exactly what I was saying. I think On's like, guys, what is going on? I have Lord Doms, I have Bloodthirster. How am I not out-damaging, out-sustaining, and just murdering this Poppy? And, you know, he's going to be told, so is life. Start the game.
I mean, but you have to be able to peel around him. And I feel like in that last game, the last fight right there, that was a big difference maker.
That was just so chaotic. I'm excited to get the replay of that one to see how things got so spread out. Because at first it looked like Weibo were actually a bit too hesitant. Like, the second you send the Cassante flying, I feel like it's like, yo, let's get this going. Some people start engaging on their carries. Jungle goes straight to Baron. But it was a little bit slower, and somehow it still ended up working out in Weibo's
I'm just surprised
favor.
they went for the 50-50. Like, I'm very surprised that they left it up to that.
I think that the logic from IG starting it makes sense. Like, you know Chris recalled. You shot the arrow, you knew he was there, you know he was gone. You have that timing. You're trying to pull Weibo into where you can maybe start off that engage a little bit quicker. But, yeah, I think committing to the Baron, not going for the turn, ended up fighting them in the end is, we're going to see here, right? Cassante getting thrown out. They probably should have started off the engage already at that point, but this is where Weibo really going to thrive, and I want to keep my eyes on ZBZ. Oh, actually,
wow.
He just walks forward. On kind of just walks forward, and it leaves for him to get locked in. Cleanses so late to where so much of the damage already came through, and then just getting absolutely run down.
The flash play from ZDZ, knowing he needed to make the difference there. Really clutch factor for ZDZ as a whole, especially in those first two games. And the Poppy starting to come in clutch. And I was going to say earlier, like, how unfair is it that you just get to tell one person on the enemy team you don't get to play the video game for like 10 seconds? And I feel like ZDZ has used that very well.
I got to say, wait, I'm just so happy that, you know, I actually thought we were getting back into the game, but it's like, whoa, we just have replays appear now when we're in these breaks?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We have no control, but we are here for the ride.
Now, it feels...
We're getting in it.
It definitely still feels doable for IG, but I mean, now we're at a point where, like, the Azir's coming on live with the Poppy. Again, if 1 in 4 Poppy is doing this, let's imagine when he's 2 in 4 Poppy. Like, yeah. It only goes up from here. But On starting to make his way, getting that one armor AD item that I've never learned the name to, because...
Panic Ripper.
No, that's...
Oh, I thought you said ZDZ, sorry.
No.
I was looking
at the armor AD item that builds into things like Death's Dance and GA.
Something medallion, I think. I don't remember. Off the top
you
of
know,
my head.
it's such an uncommon component. Does it even need a name? Just call it that one
important.
armor AD item.
You know, maybe. I do wonder, though, especially coming into this one, when we were looking at a lot of the ways that the win conditions work out. We called it kind of the tortoise and the hare, where Weibo were the tortoise. And it's funny how we've seen the stories kind of work out in that fashion in a certain way, right? I think IG took a little bit to get warmed up into the series. The hare was a little bit cold. But Weibo themselves, they are always so strong when it comes to mid, when it comes to late game, and how to move around the map. And IG have not shown us that. They show us all that proactivity in the early game.
And I think a lot of credit has to go to Xiaohu. And typically it's hard to tell, but just the way Xiaohu's teams, who cares about Xiaohu now because YSKM, a huge flank.
I mean, this is desperation. This is the moment. They do end up seeing him at the last second. Paranoia coming in. Pop Blossom nowhere near. On is needing to get into damage range. Pop Blossom now coming in onto multiple members. They actually have it. Now they also have YSKM on the backline too. IG have found a fight. They're starting to wipe the floor with them. ZDZ is going to try to use his Keeper's Verdict. He does end up getting on out of there. YSKM getting a little bit low. XiaoHao is still alive. Finally going down to Leyan and IG. They bare their fangs and they bite right back.
And now ZDZ actually having to TP away. 4 players wiped out by IG. And this game so back and forth. IG trying so hard to send us to a game 5.
They want silver scrapes. I want silver scrapes. The world wants silver scrapes here in our first round of the LPL Spring Playoffs. and they are giving Weibo a run for their money. We thought this series was done and dusted after that second game. It looked like Weibo had so much the upper hand over IG, but a change-up of roster, a change-up of feeling has IG on the cusp.
I gotta see how Xiaohu ends up going down. Great flank by YSKM coming in from behind it. I mean, hell, I mean, these flanks are huge, right? With how squishy Weibo's composition is, that people like Xiao and ZDZ playing forward, and you're just able to pinch onto the Varus, but Xiao ends up saving it. End up being pop blossomed. It's actually there. YSKM getting back on the back line. Xiao getting taken down so low by that pop blossom. I mean, two key carries and two people dealing all the damage being dealt with. YSKM, especially with that ultimate, to be able to get back in after he got yeeted out was so massive.
It's such a big moment, too, for a step-up, a flank that we call a little bit desperation there. IG end up striking true. We got another pause, man, as the lead has flip-flopped 3 times in the last, 8 minutes, as now we find ourselves with a 2,000 gold lead that was Weibo's, now changed hands over to IG.
I mean, now those opportunities are always present, right? In terms of front-to-back, that's where Weibo feel like they thrive. That's where you have things like we saw the start of that fight, right? Emperor's Divide able to help peel for light. You have these big frontliners in your top and jungle, in the Poppy and the Volley Bear. But the second those flanks come through, and especially in a position like that where you're pushing down bot lane, and it's not like around Dragon where, it's such a limited area, it's very easy to mark your flanks. It was just great by IG to find that window to set up for the big play, because that was probably the hardest setup for Weibo to have to counteract. So it was huge success.
It truly was. And I'm just glad we're getting a very contested game number 4. And giving Weibo a bit of a run for their money when it's a team that on paper should have had all the utmost success, but had a hard time even getting into this position and being their 7th seed for LPL.
Yeah, it was a very weird split for Weibo, right? Because they were another team where it felt like they had the player quality to just be able to take down some teams in the league. And there's always going to be teams like that, right? There's going to be some teams that do not pass the you must have this good of hands to ride this ride. Weibo were taking down teams like that, and every now and then you'd see the map play, you'd see a bit of the brilliance, but are not always able to get themselves there. We saw a very different Game 1 and Game 2 than I expected from Weibo, very dominant. And now this game, I think, looks like the most expected version of Weibo. It's really coming down to the wire now. Another dragon coming up on the board.
Take a look and see IG already starting it up. Xiaohu getting the TP into mid lane. Dragon already gone. That'd be a 3rd in a row, at least in the Cloud Dragons department. For IG, Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes through the uprights. IG's pull of the trigger is a little bit worsened by that, but they still have a lot of options.
I mean, Weibo could start moving mid and try to look for siege. The problem is there really isn't anything on the map that they can go for. So I like this. Back off, get a few wards down, take away some camps, and just wait for the next one. Like I said, I'd really like for Xiaohu to be able to have a bit more damage under his belt. He prioritized the Zanyas over going for something like the Rabadons earlier, which makes sense, right, with the amount of dive that IG have in their comp. But I think it also means that in some of these situations, if he gets focused down early, you don't have a ton of the damage there to be able to deal with IG, as we can see on now, full build with GA finished.
That's so big. It makes you play with so much more confidence as well. You can step up, get those big trades because your auto is going to be doing so much damage. And I think right now, Weibo, with a very contested game on the cusp of potentially winning, but IG want to push it to 5. We have tied up Dragons. We have tied up that entire game where it's got back and forth over and over again. But we're going to have some big decisions need to be made, especially with the Baron coming up on the map.
And you could tell that these teams know that we're nearing the end, that this next fight could be a difference maker, because look at Cryin's inventory having that elixir of sorcery there. So knowing that, hey, being as strong as I can when the next fight breaks out is just the most important thing. Maybe we could barrel down mid and find the win. But so far, Weibo doing a great job of denying any vision into this river.
YSKM has a little bit of a pincer available there. Cryin needs to look for the big Pop Blossom engages, as he's been known for. And XiaoHao hits, Pop Blossom hits, the combo, it's hitting, and IG, they are hitting Weibo right in the face. A big keeper's verdict and a pushback, though, is nice separation. Weibo, they've only lost Xiaohu so far, but maybe they could stave off a little bit more. YSKM, full health, ghosted up once more, but can't do it. IG, they get one, and honestly, that's enough to turn towards the Baron.
Exactly. That's all they needed. They got it, in my mind, on the most important member in the Azir. So they're going to end up going for this. We'll see if Weibo end up being wise to it and even try to stop it.
Looks like that's not going to be the case. The Baron over. We're cresting over 40 minutes into the game, and IG, they have a big lead now, but that doesn't matter much at this stage, at this moment in the game, but they'll use that Baron buff easy.
I love it because I knew this engage was going to happen, because right before this, Cryin finally popped the elixir to get it right on. Get it right on to Xiaohu, who sure has the stasis there, but you don't have anyone who could help heal for you or play around you. I love that they know that he's the main target for their Fury, and he ends up going down in the end. So now with this Baron, I mean, IG can really just start dismantling the base.
And light is the poke build. Again, you don't have the sustained damage that the Varus would bring if you're the lethal tempo style, and it makes it to where the damage has to hit or you're going to be left wanting. Weibo looking for a play on in mid lane. Not going to pull the trigger just yet. They had a multi-flank going.
I mean, remember that, you know, On still has that GA, so even if you find the opportunity to pounce on him once, that might not be enough.
Chance of Crystal Arrow has been used, but again, that cooldown is so low now, and you can feel very confident to just keep utilizing it. They still have the Pop Blossom, they still have Paranoia available. IG pressing with 1:45 left on the Baron buff.
I mean, look, the Enchant Crystal Arrow is already halfway up now, so you're going to be able to look for that play again real soon. Great job of just transitioning back and forth between these lanes. And it's nice. Dragon's up in 50 seconds, and it feels like this game might be decided by a soul fight.
I'm excited for it. I love me a 50-50 soul fight. Small fight? It's not going to be a small fight. It's going to be a big fight. As, I'm stepping up there.
I think as Weibo going into this next fight, you have to really not care too much about the Drake. Like you said, IG obviously love getting Cloud Soul, but if you can wipe them in this fight, you just win the game. There aren't too many structures that you have to be able to get through, so I think prioritizing the fight is the most important thing.
Ooh, a full reset from IG here as well. Here it comes streaming out of the base to get back down towards this bottom side of the map. As you actually do see it, we still have to think about the way that Weibo can approach this, because they don't have a lot of vision, and IG do.
Yeah, really having to kind of second guess themselves in this one.
Just five-manning.
It just feels so hard because there's so many angles you have to worry about being able to get on your back line.
Oh my god, XiaoHao is going to have to ult out of that one. ZDZ is in some trouble on the other side now as well. They actually have On about half health. On flashes. That was a really clutch flash from On.
Ends up being able to get away in the end, and both these teams going back to posture around the dragon. Lots of ults used.
Look how much damage he does to that thing, man. XiaoHao's here, though. This could be a 50-50 he's looking for. Sky Splitter comes down. He's in the pit. He's in a little early. He does not get it. On is the one that secures it. Paranoia coming out. Is it going to be stopped? No. Keeper's Verdict does hit, and that is on to Leyan. He's still in there. He's tanking up a ton, but that Keeper's Verdict actually saves his life.
Like, I'm just curious about what spike Weibo are waiting for if they aren't willing to fight here. And again, earlier I was talking about like getting a death cap on Xiaohu, but even now just sitting on the Oblivion Orb. So, like you said, lethality Varus, like, we don't get much stronger from this point for Weibo. IG is going to be able to keep doing what they're doing and now having the soul on top of it.
He's got the Serpent's Fang now, so to deal with a little bit of shielding that is not super existent on this roster from IG. I guess there's a little bit of shielding, but not very much. I'll be looking to see you to capitalize on that, though. And, yeah, I mean, Weibo, maybe some of that gas they were using to rev up their engine in the first 2 games running out.
I'm saying it right now. We're going to Game 5. This
believe.
Feels like going to Game 5 energy.
I believe. But would you expect that we'd be here as we were coming into this series? Like, that's the craziest point.
I fully expected a 3-0 for Weibo, which it makes it so much more impressive for IG. Again, great, especially clawing it back when you're such like a young squad. Being able to come back from being 2-0 down and potentially bring us to a game 5 is already impressive in and of itself. We'll see what they can do. They still haven't even been able to get the GA from the Draven yet. Again, they were at least able to get the flash in the last exchange thanks to ZDZ, but Weibo need to take advantage of that timing.
IG moves so fast. Wink will take a ton of damage from that arrow. But the speed at which IG can go now, especially off the back of their engages, is so big.
And again, the problem is, like, as Weibo, you're just worried about so many different things in these fights. And always feels like Xiaohu especially has just been a little bit too far forward, potentially maybe looking for like a Shurima Shuffle-esque play, but it's always just left him out in the open for really Cryin or Wink to just find an easy engage angle onto the Azir.
Yeah. I also think we've seen a massive difference when Crisp is not on an engaged champion, right? I think at least a little bit forward-centered, because the Heimerdinger has been a bit quiet and few and far between here so far.
And it makes sense, right? I feel like when you're picking Heimer for the early game, and that's where he was getting picked off and, you know, not finding success. So I don't... It feels like with the position they're in, like there isn't too much he's going to be able to do here. But I agree, just in terms of keep Crisp on something that is more comfort, right? Like I said, we haven't seen him play the Heimer at all this split. Trying to bring it out to contested 2v2 didn't work.
YSKM is looking for a flank. They have multiple wards over there, but he is not going to pull the trigger just yet. Baron is up.
Right now, both teams just having the standoff for what should finally be the final fight, maybe.
Oh, there it is.
Arrow.
All right. The nice save from Crisp there. They are looking for more engages. Sky Splitter gonna connect on. Oh, Pop Blossom 3, as that's huge. IG, they have streamed forward. Leyan overexerting, but he's out of there. And now YSKM finds him as Xiaohu tries to save the day here. IG are taking a front to back here. Weibo, they can't actually get into the fight. Nobody has fallen. Everyone's still alive, and these teams are pushing the limits.
Weibo just don't have the damage to kill YSKM. We saw it right there and then. Not able to bring him down. That was probably the best they could have hoped for with having members of IG isolated for the 1v1. But it looks like now with so many of those ults down, Weibo are going to go for this because IG's comp is way more reliant on ultimates.
TP's coming in. They have the double flank. YSKM has been spotted out, but look at the speed that they can approach. Xiaohu, he gets caught by the Tangle Barb. He's going to go golden. ZDZ is still here. He's going to push YSKM back. Shifting Sands gets Xiaohu out of there. Cryin trying to finish him off, but he can't do it. Weibo are backs against the wall here. They've got to scrap their way out of this one. But IG starting to get chunked. Paranoid on the back line. Leyan finds it. Cryin has his ulti back, and they get him. The light's gone. IG are trying to pick him apart here. ZDZ's by himself. ZDZ can't stave off the darkness, and On gets a big ol' shutdown. IG wipe Weibo, and YSK will finish him off. That's a full ace.
IG able to run them down. Now with the death timers, they're going to be able to push through the base, and they're doing it. They're bringing us to the game 5.
Almost 48 minutes in. The death timer's too long. And if you doubted IG, well, you need to stop doubting them right now. With their backs against the wall, they start up the reverse sweep, and they find themselves one game from completion in a date with LNG.
Great by IG, bringing it back, being so decisive in these fights. Weibo on the opposite side, feeling hesitant. I swear I've never seen an Azir that felt like it did no damage like that game. Anytime Xiao was involved, again, this Cassante isn't getting hurt. They aren't taking down Leyan. So back to the drawing board for them, but huge, especially great momentum for IG, winning 2 games in a row.
Ever since Leyan stepped in, it's been a different IG. What a way to get to a game 5. It's going to be our first silver scrapes of the LPL Spring Playoffs, so let's go ahead and hear those, and we'll see you for game 5.